Depending on the documents and on the consideration of the functionary of the ministry, then you will get the visa or you will be admitted or denied.
Colombia has become one of Latin America's leading tourist, financial, commercial, and operational centers. It increasingly receives foreigners who want to settle in the country temporarily or permanently. If you're a foreign national wondering how to obtain a Colombian visa, our legal advisor, Jairo Zapata, is here today to guide us in this matter. Welcome, Jairo, to La Consultoría.
Hello, Ivana. Thank you for having me here today.
So, Jairo, can you share with us what types of visas there are for foreigners in Colombia?
Okay, yeah, sure. There are mainly three types of visa: the visitor's visa, the migrant visa, and the resident visa. The first one is for foreigners who want to stay in Colombia for short periods of time, such as tourists or business managers. The second one is for foreigners who want to stay for a longer period of time, and it's given to the foreigners that have, for example, son with a Colombian nationality, or that are wife or husband of a Colombian national. And for example, there's also a type M visa for investors. And this visa will allow you after that to have a resident visa. That resident visa is given for accumulating time with the migrant visa, and mainly those are the three types of the visas that are for Colombia.
So, Jairo, from what you're saying, I understand that in Colombia we have different types of visas, especially tailored for the needs of each foreign national who wants to come in the country. So, if somebody wants to come for tourism, they have to apply for a type B visa. If they want to enter and stay for a longer period of time, they have to apply for a migrant visa. And if they want to settle permanently in Colombia, they will have to apply for a resident visa.
Yeah, actually that's correct.
Okay, so how can they apply? What is the process, the application process for a Colombian visa?
Okay, we need to take into account that the process itself is the same for each type of visa, but it will be different, the requirements that each type of visa needs. So the process is very simple. It's an online process that you can do in the webpage of the Ministry of International Affairs. You submit all the documents of the type of visa that you want, and you will need to sign some forms that the Ministry of International Affairs give to you. And once you submit all the information, you pay for a fee. It's a fee that you need to pay in order to study the documents, and it's not so expensive. After you pay for that study, then you need to wait at least 30 days for the ministry to study all the information that you submit to the application. And after that, they will give us a response. Depending on the documents and on the consideration of the functionary of the ministry, then you will get the visa or you will be admitted or denied.
So, Jairo, according to what you're just saying, is the application process the same for each type of visa?
Well, the application process is not the same. I mean, the procedure, yes, is exactly the same, but there are different requirements that change depending on the type of visa that you want. Also, if you're a beneficiary of the visa, it will change the process. And also, if you're a minor, then you will need to upload also your birth certificate in each type of visa. And also, well, to give you a fact, not all the countries will need a visa, at least for a short period of time as a tourist, because just with a passport, they can enter to Colombia with the stamp that in migration they put to passport. So that's something that you need to take into account, and also, well, the audience need to know.
And Jairo, for the ones that do need to apply for a tourist visa, what are the specific requirements?
Okay, they need to take into account that if they don't have an invitation letter of a Colombian national, then they will need to draft a letter in which they will explain the places where they will stay here in Colombia. They will need to also give the information of the amount of days that they will spend here too, and also the activities that they will develop. Apart from that, you need to have an insurance policy, a medical insurance policy with a validity up to 6 months, or if it's the better option, 1 year. I recommend to have that insurance policy with a validity of 1 year for the process. Now, you will also need to book the tickets to come and go off the country. And also have a valid passport.
The validity of the passport has to be for a specific amount of time.
Yeah, at least 6 months. And I forgot to say something too. It's not in the law, but it's very important for the process. You need to send your bank statements from the last 6 months to prove that you have the enough solvency to stay here in our country with us.
Jairo, and for the other types of visas, let's say for the mother or father or spouse of a Colombian national, what are the requirements?
Well, for the mother or father of a Colombian national, for example, you will need to submit the birth certificate of the minor. It's very important for the process to prove that indeed the solicitant is the parent of that national. Apart from that, you will also need to upload to the system the bank statements of the last 3 or 6 months right now. This is something that I don't recall. But the bank statements are very important to prove the solvency of the solicitant. The parent that is a Colombian national will need to draft a letter on behalf of the minor asking for the visa to the Ministry of International Affairs. It's something that normally people don't understand a little bit, but it's very important for the process to upload also that letter. Apart from that, you will need to upload the certificates, the migrant certificates of both parents. Even if one is national, it doesn't matter. You need to upload both of them. So those are like the requirements for that type of visa.
In the case of newly married couples, how can they prove like the existence of the relationship for the longer period?
It's a good question actually. The Ministry of International Affairs normally thinks that those marriages are not so real. In that way, to prove that indeed your marriage is real, you will need to add an additional letter to explain the whole relationship since the beginning. If that's not enough, then you will need to upload also some pictures of the couple along the years. In that way, you can prove to the ministry with that additional information that your relationship is real.
Okay, so this is for the case of a spouse or permanent partner of a Colombian national.
Correct.
But let's say somebody wants to come to Colombia to invest for an investor visa. What are the requirements?
Well, that depends on the type of investment, okay? So, in the first place, if you want to invest in, for example, real estate, that's a good question, a good example, sorry. The real estate investors will need to provide to the Ministry of International Affairs the certification, the registry of the apartment with their name in that certificate, and also with the amount of money that the investor put in order to get that investment visa.
For those who want to invest not in real estate but in a Colombian company, what will be the requirements?
Now, yeah, that's also a good example, and the requirements change a little bit. You can invest in an existing Colombian company, or you can also create a new Colombian company. In each case, you will need to do the investment and certify with the central bank that that investment was a foreign direct investment, okay? That's a certificate that they give to you. And with that certificate, you can begin the application for the visa along with other requirements, such as the shares that you have in that company, some documents that are very important of the company, and apart from that, obviously, the passport with the validity to do that.
This is a type M visa, right?
Correct, such as the other investor visa.
Okay, Jairo, from what you just said, it is of great importance to know the type of visa that you need before enrolling all this application process, because the requirements may change depending on that, right?
Exactly. The requirements will change, of course, and I just want to clarify something. The requirements that we just talked about for the investor's visa, for example, or the mother or father of a Colombian national, those requirements are not just the only ones that they will ask for the solicitude. There are other documents that you need to upload to the solicitude in order to have a very good process. If you forget to upload those documents, the ministry cannot admit the visa, for example.
Okay, you just mentioned non-admission. So, Regarding this application, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, that is the Visa Authority, can provide some rulings. What can be those rulings?
Well, the acceptance, that is the issuance of the visa, the non-admission, that is when you forget to upload a document, or simply the ministry don't want to approve that visa, then they can not admit that visa, that solicitude. And the denial, that is the worst scenario, where mainly the solicitants not forgot to upload a document, but they falsified the information from the documents, and in that way the ministry denied completely the solicitude.
So the Ministry of Foreign Affairs can just choose not to grant a visa?
Yeah.
They have the discretionary power?
Yeah, it's a discretionary power that they have. The Ministry of International Affairs must provide us the information, the reasons why they non-admit or deny the solicitude. So let's not confuse then the faculties that they do not have with the faculties that they do have over the state.
Okay, but in the case that the reasons that they provide are not enough, or even if they don't provide any reasons, are there any legal possibilities for somebody whose rights are being violated with this arbitrary decision?
Yeah, sure. We have many legal tools that apply for those cases, and there are lots of cases like that. Now, the best tool that we have, the legal way that we have to get at least the exact information and the reasons why they not admit or deny the visa, is with a tutela. Here in Colombia, it's a really good tool that we have to obtain at least the information that they are not willing to give us. In that way, we can get the information that the solicitor needs. If it's possible for us to change anything in the process and do the process again, then we can do it after we receive that information. So it's a very good way to get the solution for the foreign situation.
Jairo, according to everything that you have explained to us today and to your expertise on this subject, what useful advice would you give to somebody interested in applying for a Colombian visa?
Well, Ivana, the first thing that I would like to say is tell the truth. That's the most important thing for the process. Provide the real documents for the solicitor, because they will know if they're fake or not. And apart from that, try to get legal advice in each case, even if the process is simple because there is an online solicitude. With legal advice, you can increase the possibilities to get the solicitude to be accepted by the Ministry of International Affairs. And in the process, when there's, for example, an additional requirement from the Ministry of International Affairs, then with the legal advice, you can provide the exact information that they want in the way that they want you to present it. So I believe that those are the advices that I can give to the audience.
You can provide the legal advice here at the Firma Legal.
Sure. Yeah, we have lots of cases with many foreigners, many different types of visa applicants. So the expertise of the team is complete here in La Firma Legal. If you want to hire our services, we're here for you and to help all the audience that are in need of that.
Thank you, Jairo, for your time, and thanks to our audience, and I look forward meeting you again at another edition of La Consultoría.
Thank you.